Hey guys, I'm Nick, astrology teacher and reader at the Sisters Enchanted. This is my weekly horoscope, Moon Speak. Okay, next up we have the moon moving into Capricorn. So we're still riding that Aquarius lunar cycle out, and this is the tail end of it. And you can see that the sun here is at 29 degrees on the 18th, and I'm sure by the 19th it will be moving itself into Pisces, or at the very least by the 20th. So this is the energy that we're looking at. The moon in Capricorn always has us putting up emotional boundaries and protections so that we can get our work done, so that we can focus on the responsibilities and the maturity and the things that we really need to take care of and work for in life. We also see Mars moving into Capricorn here as well, right on top of the moon. So there is a lot of drive to get work done and to get to work and to do that work and to do it efficiently. But, you know, Mars in Capricorn is what we consider exalted. So it does have an easy time doing this. However, Mars in Capricorn tends to run into roadblocks that it has to work through a lot. So be prepared, especially while the moon is in there, to face some emotional hurdles that you have to overcome. But realize that the energy is there to do it, especially with Mars there to back it up. And the moon in Capricorn is what we call detriment. So it's a very hard place for the moon to be in, because the moon wants to feel emotions and not necessarily have to feel the weight of responsibility on top of it. We also see the moon, and I'll double check this in our little chart down here. The moon is making that same, now it's making a nice little square. Before it was making a nice trine to Venus when it was in Sagittarius. Now it's making a nice little square to Venus in Aries. And Venus in Aries is again saying find independence. Do you as best as you do you. And the moon in Capricorn is like, hey, I'm not really worried about doing me. I'm just gonna be doing my work and get my work done. And Mars, the ruler of Aries, is also saying, hey, let's get to work, let's get that work done. Both of these planets, the moon and Mars, are creating this challenge to Venus, saying, you know, the work that you do now, it's not gonna make you feel appreciated right away. It's gonna make you feel probably less restricted and more reliant on the structures in your lives, on creating stability in your life. The suggestion I would have for this is not to listen to our Venusian energies right away. Because Mars is being the ruler here of Venus, it's very important to make sure that that work gets done, because the investment in the work that you do now will have a longer effect on you than appeasing your Venus energies right away and getting what you desire. Because then, if things come easy to us, we tend to hold on to them longer than if we had to actually appreciate what we have through working through it. And not, I don't mean to say that, the work that we do, we don't end up appreciating it and want to hold on to it, but we end up having more perspective when we actually have to work for what we get than when we do have, than when we just get what we want. They're also creating, and I'll double check this in our little chart down here again, they're creating a nice little trine to, both of them, Mars and the moon, are creating a nice little trine to Uranus over here. And that's also talking a lot about Uranus and Taurus is all about, being independent, being free, and having enough independence that it doesn't ruin the self-value that you have for yourself. And making sure that the work that you're doing is bringing in that sense of value and worthiness. Otherwise, Uranus is going to make you fly off the handle and run away, right? And so this energy here is saying, hey, get to work, because in the long run, this is going to make you feel more independent, more stable, and it's not going to make you feel like you need to run the heck away from all of the responsibilities, the troubles, and all the craziness in your life. And also we have now Mercury is officially retrograde, which I think it was retrograde when it was down here, when the moon was down here in Sagittarius as well. But now this is, there's no aspect that the moon is creating to Mercury, but Mercury is going retrograde, making us double think all of the veils, all of the fog. It's like, when we're standing in fog and you don't realize it. Well, I mean, you do, because you're a normal person, but, psychologically, we tend to stand in fog and not really realize that we're clouding our minds and our judgments. And now Mercury retrograde is lifting that veil up. So be prepared for all sorts of craziness with that, in terms of, realizing that you don't have boundaries or that you need stronger boundaries, specifically emotionally, but spiritually, mentally. Strong boundaries are a huge thing with Mercury going retrograde in Pisces.